Let's look at the days creditors calculation and how it's derived. It's a pretty simple calculation. The first one is, what is your creditors value at the end of the period? So let's say we're doing the month of July, and at the end of July, you've got $500,000 worth of creditors on your balance sheet. That's number one. Number two is, what were your credit purchases during the period that you're looking at? So in this case, we're going to look at the month of July, but it could be over the course of a year, it could be over the course of 6 months. Now, the important part of this is you can't just get this off your P&L in terms of adding your direct costs and your overhead costs, because there's expenses in there that aren't purchased or paid for on credit. So the biggest ones would be things like wages and also elements like depreciation, which are a non-cash expense. So just go through the lines, and most line items would actually be credit purchases, but eliminate those from the calculations, because otherwise what will happen is you'll end up depressing what the actual true number is if you include expenses in there that shouldn't be included for calculation purposes. And lastly, the days in the period. So the calculation would be your creditors divided by your credit purchases for the period, bracket those two numbers, and multiply them by the days in the period. So if we've got $950,000 worth of purchases in the month of July, and as we said before, we've got $500,000 worth of creditors, we times that by 31, and if my calculations are any good, that would get you around about 16.3 days creditors. So let's say, for the purpose of the conversation, you on average pay your creditors 16 days after receiving the invoice.